Reports are arriving from across Israel simultaneously, and the picture they form is one that no analyst watching this conflict expected to see on day 8. Sirens are screaming across Tel Aviv, across central Israel, across Beersheba in the Negev desert. Footage is flooding in from civilians on rooftops, from journalists in the streets, from residents filming from inside bomb shelters. The images show streaks of fire crossing the night sky, interceptors detonating above the city, and fires burning in residential neighborhoods below. Iran is striking Israel tonight, and what separates tonight from the previous 7 days is the specific combination of weapons Iran has chosen to deploy and the targets those weapons are reaching. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps announced the launch of its 23rd wave of strikes under what it is calling Operation True Promise 4, 23 waves. Since February 28, 2026, the day the United States and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury against Iran, Tehran has answered with wave after wave of ballistic missiles and armed drones aimed at Israeli population centers and American military installations spread across the entire Middle East. 23 waves in 8 days means this is not a single dramatic response. This is a sustained, paced, and deliberate campaign, and tonight's wave is among the most significant in its weapon selection. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps confirmed in state broadcasts that Wave 23 deployed both the Fattah missile and the Khorramshahr 4, which carries the operational name K-Bar. These are two distinct weapons with fundamentally different threat profiles. The Fattah is Iran's domestically developed hypersonic ballistic missile, first unveiled in a formal ceremony on June 6, 2023. Iranian state claims describe it as capable of reaching speeds of Mach 13 to Mach 15 in its terminal descent phase, with a range of 1,400 kilometers. What Iranian officials emphasize about the Fattah is not only its claimed speed, but its maneuverable re-entry vehicle, which they say allows it to alter course during descent, making trajectory prediction for interceptors significantly more difficult. The Khorramshahr 4 is a separate and heavier weapon. It is a medium-range ballistic missile with a confirmed range of 2,000 kilometers and a warhead weighing 1,500 kilograms, the heaviest conventional warhead in Iran's confirmed operational inventory. It reaches speeds of Mach 16 outside the atmosphere and Mach 8 within it upon re-entry, and it too carries a maneuverable re-entry vehicle. Crucially, the Khorramshahr 4's warhead is designed to open during descent and release submunitions across a wide area, a capability that analysts identified from the pattern of damage in earlier waves of this conflict. Together, these two missiles, one built around speed and the other around payload and area saturation, represent the most capable combination Iran has fielded against Israel since this conflict began. The Israeli military has confirmed it is intercepting missiles from Iran. The Arrow, David Sling, and Iron Dome systems are operating across multiple layers of defense. But 8 days of verified reporting makes clear that interceptions are not the same as complete protection. On March 1, 2026, an Iranian ballistic missile struck a synagogue and the public bomb shelter beneath it in Beit Shemesh, 30 kilometers west of Jerusalem. 9 people were killed and more than 40 were injured, including children. The Times of Israel confirmed that 3 of those killed were teenage siblings, Yaakov, Abigail, and Sarah Bitton, aged 16, 15, and 13. On February 28, a direct missile hit in Tel Aviv killed a woman in her 60s and injured 22 others, one of them seriously. At least 40 buildings in Tel Aviv sustained damage in the opening phase of the Iranian campaign, confirmed by the Tel Aviv city government and reported by Haaretz. 11 people have been confirmed killed inside Israel since the conflict began. Every new wave carries the possibility of that number rising before morning. How did it come to this? That is the question being asked tonight in Washington, in Jerusalem, and in every defense ministry watching this conflict unfold. The United States and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury, with a scale of force described publicly as overwhelming. The Center for Strategic and International Studies estimated the cost of the first 100 hours of that operation at $3.7 billion, approximately $891 million per day, with $3.5 billion of that cost unbudgeted. United States Central Command has struck more than 3,000 targets inside Iran since February 28 and confirmed sinking 43 Iranian warships. The Israeli military claims it has carried out 2,500 strikes and destroyed 80% of Iran's air defense systems. The White House stated that retaliatory ballistic missile strikes from Iran had dropped by 90% compared to day one, and that Iranian drone attacks had fallen by 83%. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed in the opening American and Israeli strike on Tehran on February 28. And despite all of that, despite the scale of force, despite the declared degradation of Iranian capabilities, Wave 23 is in the air over Israel tonight. The first failure was the assumption that destroying Iranian leadership and command infrastructure would break the retaliatory chain before it could be organized. It did not. The BBC observed that Iran's speed of retaliation in this conflict, with missiles launching within hours of the opening strike, indicated a fundamental change in Iran's command structure, suggesting that launch authority had been pre-delegated to operational commanders below the level of political leadership. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps was built specifically around the possibility that Iran's political leadership could be eliminated in the first hours of a conflict. Its missile batteries were dispersed underground across western Iran long before February 28. Pre-targeted and pre-authorized for launch regardless of what happened to the men at the top. The weapons firing at Israel tonight were not stored in the facilities struck on day one. They were positioned in hardened and dispersed locations that the opening strikes did not reach. The second failure was the underestimation of how long Iran could sustain its launch campaign. By March 5, 2026, a military source told Iran's Fars news agency that Iran had fired over 500 ballistic and naval missiles and approximately 2,000 drones since February 28 alone. 40% of those launches were directed at Israel. 60% were aimed at American military installations across 9 countries. Analysts tracking the decline in Iranian launch rates after day 4 offered 2 explanations. The first was genuine depletion of certain launcher types from continuous American and Israeli strikes on mobile launch vehicles inside Iran. The second, more strategically significant explanation was deliberate rationing. Iran was managing its remaining inventory for a longer campaign. Reporting from multiple outlets following a full week of hostilities indicated Iran likely retained approximately 1,000 ballistic missiles in reserve. The strategy was never to fire everything at once. It was to sustain pressure while the political and economic costs of the war accumulated on the other side. The third failure was the assumption that the conflict would remain geographically contained between Iran and Israel. That assumption was overturned within hours of the first strike on February 28. The conflict has now directly affected 14 countries: Kuwait, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Bahrain, Iraq, Azerbaijan, Cyprus, and others have all reported incoming Iranian missiles or drones. The United States Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain's Jaffair district was struck multiple times. An Iranian missile hit a Bahraini oil refinery. Qatar evacuated residents near the American embassy in Doha after missile impacts were confirmed. The United Arab Emirates reported intercepting 148 Iranian drones, 9 ballistic missiles, and 6 cruise missiles. A drone struck the runway of a British military base in Cyprus, prompting Greece to deploy frigates and F-16s to defend the island. The geographic scope of what has unfolded bears no resemblance to the contained, decisive operation that was described to the public when it began. For the people inside Israel tonight, no strategic calculation changes the immediate reality. Air raid sirens have activated across Tel Aviv, Haifa, Jerusalem, and Beersheba continuously since February 28. 4 million people in the greater Tel Aviv metropolitan area shelter each time those sirens sound. Israel's civil administration closed all holy sites in Jerusalem's Old City and canceled Friday prayers as a direct consequence of the ongoing missile threat. 330,000 people have been forcibly displaced across the broader region, according to the United Nations. 19 people were injured when an Iranian missile struck a residential neighborhood in Beersheba. A Pakistani national was killed in the United Arab Emirates by falling debris from an intercepted missile. Residential areas of Dubai near the Burj Khalifa were struck by Iranian drones, setting a hotel on fire and causing 4 injuries. In Iran, approximately 1,332 civilians have been confirmed killed from American and Israeli strikes, according to the Iranian Red Crescent Society, with Iranian state media reporting more than 150 people, most of them children, killed in a single strike on an elementary school in Minab in southern Iran. Every wave of missiles adds to figures that represent real people in real homes across a conflict that has spread far beyond anything its architects announced. What the coming hours require is a set of decisions for which there are no clean options. Israel will respond to tonight's wave. The Israeli military has already struck more than 400 targets in western Iran in the course of a single day. United States Central Command is hitting approximately 200 additional Iranian sites every 72 hours. But every escalation now takes place under a specific and defining constraint. Iran entered this conflict with a declared posture of no limits. Ali Larijani, Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, has stated that Iranian forces are prepared for a potential American ground invasion and ready to inflict severe casualties. Iran has kept the Strait of Hormuz open but explicitly threatened to close it to American and Israeli vessels, a move that would affect a significant share of global oil transit. Oil prices have already surged to their highest level since September 2023. The United States itself is burning through missile interceptors at a rate that has prompted the Pentagon to begin considering the redeployment of Patriot and THAAD systems from South Korea to replenish regional stocks. Before this war began, the Israeli Defense Forces assessed that Iran had been manufacturing ballistic missiles at an accelerating rate, with its production on what the IDF called an upward trend in the months prior to February 28. That production capacity, not yet fully disrupted by 8 days of strikes, is the foundation from which future waves will be drawn. This is the 8th day of a war that was expected to produce decisive results within its first 72 hours. Iran has launched 23 waves of missiles. The interceptors defending Israeli cities are being consumed faster than they can be replaced. The missiles Iran is deploying tonight, including the 1,500-kilogram warhead of the Khorramshahr-4, were engineered specifically to challenge the layered defense architecture that Israel spent decades building. Iran's ambassador to the United Nations, Amir Sayed Iravani, has accused the United States and Israel of recognizing no red line and of committing war crimes. The United Nations itself has so far been unable to produce a binding response. 6 American service members have been killed in the conflict. The war has drawn in countries across the region that had no interest in becoming participants. The morning will bring new casualty figures, new strike assessments, and decisions that will determine the direction of a conflict that has already exceeded every boundary that was drawn for it before it began. The 23rd wave is still in progress. We will not leave this coverage.